There's nothing more satisfying for a gardener than seeing a healthy worm population thriving in your soil. Worms aren't just fascinating creatures. They are essential engineers of the garden, turning ordinary soil into nutrient-rich humus, improving drainage and boosting plant growth. But attracting them can be slow and, well, frustrating. You can add scraps, compost or banana peels and still see little movement for days. That was my experience until I discovered a single ordinary kitchen scrap that made my soil erupt with worms almost overnight. This isn't a gimmick or a viral hack. It's a scientifically sound method that leverages natural worm behavior, and applying it correctly can really revolutionize the way you garden, compost and recycle kitchen waste. The one kitchen scrap that drew worms faster than anything else. The secret scrap is citrus peels, especially orange, tangerine or mandarin peels. Unlike other fruits, citrus contains aromatic oils and natural sugars that worms are instinctively attracted to. These compounds act as a chemical signal, telling worms that food is abundant and easy to access. The key is proper preparation. Thinly slice or shred the peels to increase surface area, which makes it easier for worms to consume them quickly. For added effectiveness, soak the peels in water for a day or two to mellow the acidity while retaining the sugars and aromatic oils. Once prepared, adding these peels to your soil or worm bin produces immediate results. Worms migrate toward the new food source, tunnel more actively, and start breaking down organic material faster than with any other scrap I've tried. Why do citrus peels actually outperform traditional worm foods like bananas? Well, bananas have long been marketed as worm magnets, but honestly, they often fail to produce consistent results. While bananas are sweet, they just lack those strong aromatic compounds that naturally signal food to worms. Citrus peels, on the other hand, create these microenvironments in soil or compost that really retain moisture and shelter, ideal conditions for worms to feed and multiply. The sugars in citrus act as an instant energy source, prompting worms to increase activity almost immediately. In practice, this means faster decomposition of other scraps in your compost or garden, healthier worm populations, and, well, soil that's rich in nutrients much sooner than traditional methods would allow. For anyone serious about backyard sustainability or survival gardening, understanding this dynamic is, frankly, a game changer. So, how do you add citrus peels to your soil or worm bin safely? While citrus peels are powerful attractors, using them correctly is really crucial. Start by mixing them with neutral scraps, such as shredded paper, cardboard or vegetable trimmings. This balances pH levels and prevents the peels from overwhelming the worm's environment. All right, let's begin with just a small portion of citrus and, keep an eye on how the worms respond over a couple of days. Some gardeners, they prefer to lightly ferment the peels in water for about 24 hours before introducing them, which actually creates a natural worm tonic that releases sugars and softens the peels. Once you've done that, simply spread the prepared peels evenly across the soil surface or in your worm bin, and then lightly cover them with a neutral material to help retain moisture and, importantly, prevent mold growth. This simple step it ensures a healthy balance while maximizing worm attraction and activity. Now, let's talk about some practical steps for supercharging your soil with worms. To make the most of this little hack, start by preparing your soil or worm bin just as you normally would. Lay down a base of shredded cardboard or newspaper. This helps retain moisture and gives the worms some structure to move through. Then sprinkle in a handful of existing compost or garden soil to introduce those all-important beneficial microorganisms. Next, add your prepared citrus peels and cover them lightly with some neutral scraps. Be sure to check daily for worm activity. Just gently turn the top layer to integrate the scraps, but try not to disturb the worms too much. Within days, you'll notice, increased worm movement and tunneling, along with much faster decomposition of other organic material. Over time, your soil becomes dark, crumbly and nutrient-dense, absolutely ideal for vegetables, flowers and, well, any plant you want to see truly thrive. The power of this hack isn't just in faster worm attraction. It's really in what it teaches you about working with natural systems. By observing worm behavior, adjusting pH and strategically using scraps, you end up learning how to optimize soil health, composting efficiency and resource management. For survivalists, homesteaders or even backyard historians, this technique ensures you can maintain fertile soil without relying on chemical fertilizers. And honestly, even in small urban gardens, just a few well-prepared citrus peels can create a micro-ecosystem of active worms, speeding up compost production and improving soil fertility. Applying this consistently means you'll see healthier plants, better yields, and a sustainable, low-maintenance approach to gardening. So, here's how this simple scrap actually gives you an edge as a gardener. Citrus peels are more than just waste. They're a high-impact tool for soil regeneration and worm attraction. By preparing them properly, balancing them with neutral scraps, and keeping an eye on worm activity, you're really creating a thriving ecosystem in your soil. This knowledge, it really enhances your problem-solving skills, helps you recycle kitchen waste effectively, and produces consistently fertile soil. It's a lesson in observation, patience and efficiency, showing that even the simplest resources can yield extraordinary results when used wisely. Citrus peels, I'll tell you, turned my soil into a worm paradise, sped up composting, boosted plant growth, and created a sustainable, productive backyard ecosystem. If you want to see your worm population explode and your soil truly thrive, just start using this scrap correctly today. If this guide helped you unlock the secret to faster worm attraction, make sure to subscribe to Hydrohaven for more practical, research-backed gardening and composting tips, and share this video with fellow gardeners, survival enthusiasts, and anyone serious about sustainable soil management.